I'm Destiny. Welcome back to my channel. I'm actually really just going to do a coffee talk. Here's my coffee. Or should I say a soup talk, because I've been feeling under the weather lately and I made some ramen noodles. It's so good. Okay. So this is really going to be a life update because I always just do life updates nowadays. But there's a reason for that. I have been part-time at my job for about 3 months now, and the reason why 3 months is significant is because I really wanted to take some time off to focus and improve my mental health. So not a lot of people know this, but I chose to go to therapy for stress management and anxiety management. I've had anxiety for a very long time. I always known that I've had it, but I didn't know how to cope with it. And then stress also goes hand in hand with anxiety. The stress triggers anxiety in a way. So I wanted to kind of go to a therapist to learn or grab the tools in order to cope with that. And I went for about 6 months, and here's what I have learned about myself. The first thing that I learned is that I was definitely taking on way too much, but that is kind of like my personality. I am a go-getter and an overachiever, but sometimes those words can be a positive but also a negative, because you're always putting a lot of pressure on yourself to continue to achieve, and if you don't, you're really hard on yourself. So that's kind of like my personality a little bit. So I was working full-time and homeschooling Elijah, my 2 and now 3-year-old, and I idealized taking on even more, going back to school and getting my master's and going through a workout journey or building a business. I always have these extra thoughts that I can always achieve something even greater, even though my plate is literally already full, and that obviously can wear a person out. So when I told my therapist this, she diagnosed me with chronic anxiety pretty quickly. I do feel like after the first 6 months of going to her and doing talk therapy that I did improve, because I was doing a lot of introspection and becoming a little bit more self-aware as to the reasons why I do things, and then also trying to gain the coping skills. So a lot of changes happened at my job when I used to work full-time that impacted me in a negative way and made this issue even worse, which was, number one, they cut our break time in half. So we had a lot less break time, in which I wasn't able to be one-on-one with Elijah anymore, or take him to the park or do activities with him. And he started to watch a lot of TV, and I felt a lot of mom guilt. And then besides cutting our break time, they also gave us a lot more work, and they changed the pay scale and how you earn commission. So it was more work, less work-life balance, as well as less pay. So I was obviously unsatisfied. So I decided to go part-time, because I want to explore more options, more opportunities of employment in between that time, which is why the 3-month mark update is so significant. I've been more so focusing on my motherhood journey, as well as homeschooling Elijah, and also just connecting with him and making sure that he gets the one-on-one attention that he deserves. Other things that I was learning in therapy, how to cope with the stress and anxiety, she was suggesting tapping and deep breathing to regulate your body. Elijah decided to join us. He wants to eat my soup. I don't think that he's feeling well either, so I don't mind it. Besides learning new coping mechanisms to deal with stress and anxiety, she also wanted to get to the root of why I have anxiety in the first place. And she said in general that people usually tend to have anxiety for a lot of different reasons. It could be genetically dispositioned to. It could also be a product of your environment. Okay. It could also be a product of your environment or your lifestyles. And so in my situation, I think that it could be a little bit of everything. A very memorable conversation my therapist and I had about my anxiety is that she said that I should really try to change my lifestyle, as in either change my job, which is very triggering at times, or reduce your hours so that you can fit more you time in. Like, there has to be some balance, right? And upon having this conversation, I told her that even if I didn't have any job whatsoever, the thing is, even if I was on vacation, for example, I would still want to fill my time in with very productive things. Because if I feel like I'm being stagnant, then it makes me nervous and gives me even more anxiety. Like, I always want some type of project to accomplish, and that makes me feel better. Yeah, but the thing is, I feel like I'm never satisfied. Like, I'm always chasing, and I need to just feel satisfied in the moment, and that's kind of like something that is hard for me to do. And so she said, well, if you have a very hard time relaxing, regardless if your schedule is busy or if you're on vacation and literally have nothing to do, that's your scheduled time to literally relax, and you cannot, then you're a good candidate for like medications, like anxiety medications or antidepressants, which are the same thing. Now, I really want to give changing my lifestyle a chance. I don't want to automatically like medicate myself without actually trying to follow her advice first. So within these last 3 months, I haven't just been trying to like find a different job, but also trying to purposely and intentionally relax and change my lifestyle and try to change my perspective about things so that I could get better in a way. So far, I feel like the first 2 months was definitely very eye-opening because I did feel better reducing my hours at work. I had a lot more time for myself, as well as things that are important to me, like my son. Can you close the door? Sure. Sorry, I'm getting like super distracted. Yeah. Okay, Elijah had stepped out because he wanted to play with Lily. And then I forgot to mention that because I went part-time at my job, I also lost my insurance benefits, which means that I no longer see this therapist because I can't afford $250 per session. I really enjoyed learning a lot about the transition, and yes, I did become a lot more happier and a lot less stressed, and therefore experienced a lot less anxiety, but it didn't actually like magically disappear. It didn't go away, and I was still having some nights that were triggering where I couldn't sleep very well. Like, I was getting 3 hours of sleep multiple times a week, and also feeling fatigued and have like low cognitive function, not feeling motivated, or like sometimes I'll feel extremely motivated for like 2-3 days in like a hyper motivated sense, and then I wouldn't be able to keep that feeling consistently. And then sometimes I have low times where I don't want to like talk to anybody, and it's also very isolating because like, how do you talk to people about this when it's all in your head? Like, how do you relate to people when they just don't have the same issue as you do? They're not experiencing the same experience as you, so it's kind of like hard to put into words and articulate the things that you're going through, and therefore you don't, and then so you feel like you're alone in it, like during the times that you're having like these type of symptoms. So it's very hard, but I feel like there's 2 things that have been getting me through this, and which kind of brings me to the last point that my therapist had brought up, and which I learned through therapy, is that you have to be able to validate your feelings in order to regulate your emotions. So I'll say it again. You have to learn how to validate your feelings in order to regulate your emotions. Whatever you're feeling is valid in the first place, and to actually be able to feel it and sit in it and then move forward with it. And then also keeping like good people around you. And I wanted to give a few examples of this to shout out just some people who have like really been there for me. Is number 1, my grandmother. She comes in, I want to say like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and we sit and we talk, and she helps me like clean up the house sometimes, and definitely take care of Elijah. Maybe she'll take him to the park so that I can clean up. Or one thing that I've been really enjoying is that she's been teaching me how to cook. She's very helpful, and she's there for me in a lot of ways, especially just even as just a person to talk to that's loving and caring. First, my grandmother. There are a few other people like my father who also has anxiety, who understands me and is a great person to talk to. Of course, my mom, who lives still relatively close to me, I'll see her like once a week, and sometimes she'll drop off just some food for Elijah so that I don't have to cook that night. And honestly, it takes a big load off of my back. Also, my Aunt Paula is really helpful. She always gives me like random toys that her children don't play with anymore, and as well as clothes that they don't use anymore. That really helps like my pockets. Also Liz, my Aunt Liz, she literally just gave me 6 laundry detergents, I think some toothpaste, some mouthwash, stockpiles them at a really good price. So she's like, whenever you need it, just go to my garage, you can have it. And so I don't know, just people who like want to help and want to see me less stressed and understand, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm just like really appreciative of everybody's help. And not to mention my long-term family friend, Jackie. She drove all the way to my house and just wanted to know like, hey babe, how are you doing? Is there anything that I can do for you? I just really like appreciate people who like genuinely care, who are just loving. And it's crazy, this is how I receive love sometimes, not through food, don't call me a fat ass, but like we were talking recently and I was telling her like I feel low energy, I'm anemic, and sometimes it really takes a toll on me because it created like this blood disorder where like it's like a risk to my health, and like I just haven't been feeling myself and things like that. And she literally drove 40 minutes to my house just to give me ingredients and a recipe to a low sugar, no dairy, because the medications that I take, I can't have dairy with them, coffee protein shake. And she made some for me and she gave me ingredients to last me. And I don't know, it's just like little things like that are actually like really big to me, and it tastes great, by the way. I think there's also a remote control car that's somewhere around here, and that's like one of his first remote control cars, and his birthday just passed and she was like, I got him some stuff, I really want him to be able to enjoy it. And so I don't know, people are just so nice. Like they definitely make me a better person by like being the role model that they are. And like when you have a good village and support behind you, it makes all the difference. I'm trying to think of what else and how to transition the conversation. I want to do like stay at home or work from home content on my YouTube and have all of these homeschooling activity toddler ideas, but then it's so hard to homeschool him recently. He's like oddly advanced, so it's so hard to find activities that keep him entertained and engaged. Besides doing content on my YouTube, I have been trying to focus on other avenues of social media. So one thing that I did was go to a person's salon and beauty institution and did some content for her just to do side projects that showcase that I can be multidimensional in the marketing world, and therefore try to market myself for certain job opportunities. And I'm also open to like doing collaborations. I'm going to be doing a collaboration with another content creator that's like an educational mom content creator, but that's going to be on my Instagram. I have been experimenting with my Instagram and TikTok. I've been trying to fit into the mommy content creator, but like with the educational niche on top of that. And that actually landed me a brand deal. Initially, I was not getting paid for it. They just gave me full access to their educational app for free, which was like a $60 value. However, they recently DM'd me and they said that they're really satisfied for the first initial project that we did together, and they actually want to offer me like compensation to continue to make videos for them. So I am actually getting work with these minor changes, but I don't know, I feel like sometimes, so because I'm so goal oriented, sometimes like not satisfied, like I want the success like right away, but unfortunately that's not how that happens. Sometimes it's like a slow organic growth where you're like building your brand and your voice and your presence online. And that was initially what I was trying to do. But I'm also experimenting with like trends as well. For example, I did a video, I want to say last week Friday, and it gained like 20,000 views on my TikTok, which is definitely the most that I've ever gotten on one post on my TikTok. But I don't know how I feel about that because it was high engagement, a lot of likes, a lot of views on my channel. However, in my mind, I thought I would get like a lot more followers, and that actually did not happen. TikTok can be a little bit of a different platform, so I'm still kind of learning that. I'm sorry, I'm like losing my voice at this point, so I think I might wrap it up. I'm also going to apply for jobs tonight and watch like a K-drama on Netflix and multitask and relax at the end of the day. Well, thank you so much for listening to my little life update video. I really hope that I can do more vlogs in the future if I get like a chance. Life can be very busy sometimes, and I'm trying not to overwhelm myself. I'm still learning social media. I'm still slowly trying to build something here.